This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne, bringing you things from the Conversation Project. These are stories, these are headlines, these are topics that you deem conversational, worthy of chatting up, worthy of having conversations with, and you helped us pick these out by following us on our feeds on Facebook and X and engaging in the stories we post about every 50 minutes or so to get your gauge on. And today's earworm brought to you by Public Enemy because they shut them down. And yesterday's earworm should have been MC Search because here it came today. October the 1st, 2025, and we have a partial government shutdown. We will open that story in just a moment. Also, talking about the state of marriage as we get a confirmation from the divorce now filed by Nicole Kidman, and a little bit of Pete Hegseth. And well, let's just say that was that thing that happened yesterday. And 8 stories total going through. So let's get into the stories, get into the mix. And we'll remind you that our website home is thisisconversationproject.com, where you can find more details about what we do, how we do it, and the whys behind this stuff. Because sometimes it feels like just a burnt offering up to no one. And we want to make sure you know where it's going. I also want to remind you that you can stop by our website, see more of our sponsors and more partnership opportunities to help us out. But we spotlight sponsor today will be Ground News. We'll talk about more of them in a moment. But if you use our affiliate link for Ground News, you'll get 40% off their news plans, and we get a small kickback in a way of a commission because it's an affiliate link. That's how these things work. How we keep ourselves on the way. Oh, we have a great milestone too as well. So we'll talk about that very quickly here and do more of that engagement coming forward. Well, not here, but in the video, but we'll do a bigger thing on it a little bit later. There's so many things happening. Actually, not so many things happening. Let's get into the headlines and we'll explain that further right now. Our federal government, being the US, us, is shut down partially after Congress failed to reach a spending deal to pass a continuing resolution or a budget, which may never happen again. The partial government shutdown began after midnight with the deadline passing with no agreement for a stopgap or full year spending bill. The Office of Management and Budget confirmed agencies would begin contingency plans as negotiations collapsed in both chambers. And they basically called it quits hours early by just going to recess, saying, we're not staying up past midnight. It's not happening. Republicans pushed for a short extension. Democrats insisted on policy add-ons, talks that stalled on health subsidies and immigration riders. The ironic part about this one is back when the shoe was on the feet, other footsies, basically the same little presses were there, and it didn't happen. Now the Republicans are in charge. They're pushing continuing resolutions, and the Democrats are trying to fight for long deals, and it makes absolutely no sense. The essential services continue. Hundreds of people will be furloughed or delays in pay, cascading effects on contractors. And Donald Trump says he's going to just fire folks. Things aren't working. He's going to get rid of them. And when they come back, the government they'll rehire new people. And the threat is to hire people that are more amenable to Trump administration things, basically less blues, more reds. And we'll see what goes with that one. Markets and governors now brace for a duration of risk and leadership trades back and forth to see what's going to happen. It's day one. It's only been 6-7 hours so far, so not much has happened unless you have some sort of security thing that happens overnight. But as days go on and people don't get paid and people don't get work and services are dead, we'll see what the actual squeeze will be and how our government people will be more or less amenable to actually figuring out what to do, because it is a blustery show of force, just sort of some chest pumping and some saber rattling because they can, which brings us to our second story right now. Pete Hegseth attacks woke culture in speech to top military leaders. In a rare all-hands meeting with generals and admirals, literally all of them in a room together, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, because that's what he says he does right now, blasted the woke policies and previewed War Department reforms. They were coming. Everyone's doing PT. Everyone's going to be on the line. Everyone's job is up for merit, and we don't like women and black people. Yeah, that's about it. The dress followed weeks of scrutiny over the hastily convened Quantico gathering and its political optics. It looked bad. His speech looked bad. Having those people that are together in one place looked bad, spend a lot of money, and look bad. Now, the Pentagon channels emphasize force readiness and training standards, wanting to basically bring things up, move things up to a standard. Although the standards Pete Hegseth was talking about were standards from 20, 30 years ago when we didn't have the wars that we fought these days. And he talked a lot about basically large theater wars. which if they ever happen again, are probably going to be terrible because large theater wars back in the 40s and even up to Vietnam and Korea didn't have drones and cyber and social media and all those things we have right now because Pete Hegseth's speech yesterday was a bunch of that really could have been a big email or a teleconference or a video he could have did with his makeup in his other room at the Pentagon. Civil military specialists flagged the messaging as unusual, blending a policy and culture war rhetoric in a command forum. All looked bad. The takeaways from the military audience was this: new guidance is coming fast. Okay. Top down accountability is there. Okay. Recruiting numbers are up and should stay up. Okay. And we're rolling back on DEI's sort of mandates. Okay. That's fine. You can argue those, you cannot argue those. Because they were the top generals and admirals in the room, there was a lot of hoorah and yah, what like that. They basically used their military decorum, even when Donald Trump spoke, which was kind of weird because he was looking for rally cries that he didn't get. But while Hegseth tried to play this little baby Patton yesterday, of course, we prepped for the shutdown that happened and the fallout, fallback, pushback, brushback, blowback of what this little gathering meant for all of us. As a former military member and a person who studies history and leadership and things like that since, seventh, eighth grade, Hegseth is continuously failing, and this one was a major failing on all accounts. No way, no how, no plus. And Donald Trump is just playing warrior and playing it badly. Those are my opinions. Come after me if you want to. Reply back if you want to. But hey, it was bad. I was late for work watching Hegseth's whole thing because it was just terrible. And then I was listening to Donald Trump as I was walking around the halls, taking care of things and just thinking, why are we wasting our time with this? Why are we wasting our time with this? So Memphis is working out, apparently. Just like the first initial days of DC's occupation. Attorney General Pam Bondi is talking about what's happening with Memphis and the federal crackdown there. The Attorney General said that 9 arrests were made on day 1 of the Memphis federal crime crackdown, with 2 illegal firearms seized. Would those 9 arrests been done without the federal crackdown? Who knows? The operation deputized 200 plus officers and launched a joint command center, pulling in 13 federal agencies. And local leaders are essentially praising the surge. Civil rights groups are warning about what's going to happen with the overreach and surveillance creep that's going to have to do these things. People in the areas are kind of like, we caught a couple extra people, but this is a lot of folks to catch 10 people. City resources are directed at residents to complaining to many folks about what's happening, and consent decrees, which are guardrails to protests forming downtown. It's a mess in Memphis right now. It's some place that was an easy place to insert himself. That's being Donald Trump with this stuff. He's now saying he's going back to Chicago eventually, and Portland is on the way next. We shall see if these cities are actually getting something out of the crackdown, or if it's just smoke screens or something a bit more nefarious coming down the line. I vote for that last thing because I, tend to like conspiracy theories, especially good ones, because they're great entertainment for conversation here. Hope they don't happen, but the way things are going these days, you really can't discount much of anything right now. Here's an interesting story that may have been missed in your news feeds because I didn't see much of it anywhere. A couple news articles where we pulled this one from, mostly from overseas because it affects them. The internet blackout in Afghanistan is pretty dire as the Taliban is forcing a morality crackdown. The internet connectivity in Afghanistan is basically down to nothing. They just hit the switch and everything's gone. The Taliban has ordered a nationwide telecom shutdown to keep outside educators out. Officials framed the blackout as a move against immorality. Watchdogs called it an assault on civil society and information flow. Flights, banking, e-commerce, and online education, of course, all disrupted across major cities. You can't have a big-time operation in a nation without the internet, period. And the Taliban, looking forward to taking care of your heart and your morals, just shut it down and said, don't worry about work. Make sure you're good with God. Something to that effect. NetBlock's data and local reports showed that mobile and fixed networks simultaneously were cut. Unprecedented takeover of the entire deal. Taliban wants no talk, no freedom of speech, no nothing going on, and that's what they pulled in this stunt. Aid groups are warning that the humanitarian knockouts will basically be terrible, because one thing that's really ironic about this, Afghanistan and the state it's in has to rely on a lot of humanitarian aid to just survive, because the Taliban actually can't figure out how to run trucks and get stuff happening in actual cities. They're great at rhetoric, great at saying what your morals should be, but not so much good at fixing potholes. It's always been that way. Quick hydration break because I need it. And to fight a little guffaw coming up there. So apologies for that one. I got through the last story, I think, much better. And this is a part where we take a break anyway. 4 stories in, 4 more to go for this Wednesday. And we're going to give you those stories in a minute. But first, I need to ask for your help. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this now really quick. And so it's going to throw things off completely. But we reached a milestone yesterday, and I didn't know that we did until I came home last night from a meeting. I just sort of scanned over some numbers and noticed something that was there. On October the 1st, or September 30th, actually, we get 2,500 total subscribers. Yay. So we have a little chart thing we're working back and forth where we started at the beginning of the year and where we got to for here. So from my rough estimates, it took us this long to get to 500, to get to 225, and about 100 and something days to get to 500. Basically 1.8 new folks per day to make that happen on our quest. It's much slower than we wanted to be, much slower than we think we could do, but we are happy to get here, and we're taking every step as we can. Because of course we had some losses along the way. Now, what does this mean for you right now? Well, 2,500 is not a lot. It's a very small channel. We still aren't getting the reach we want to, but we need your help to make that reach bigger and hopefully blow up in a massive way. You don't expect to get another 1,500 folks in 3 months. That's pretty much impossible. But we do expect to try to made a song. Gain more favor with folks out there with help from you out there. Like the videos that we produce across our platforms here, this one particularly live when we do every weekday morning on X, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Also, the hot takes on TikTok and YouTube as well, and our newsletter out there. We had a lot of people subscribing to that lately, so we're glad about that one. Check out our website, do what you can, but basically we need you to like the videos. Liking the videos gets more people engaged, and algorithms engage with the videos, so it's sent to more people. More people seeing it, maybe more stuff coming in, and because we do have monetization on the YouTube videos, more eyeballs means a bit more money coming in, less asking for sponsor type things. Share with like-minded people so we have more people engaged in the conversation and hopefully engaging in it as well with other folks going forward, growing the family of the News Nerd Nation. And if you're not getting this directly in your feeds, if you're not one of the 2,500 folks that are getting this on YouTube or maybe on X or Facebook, subscribe today and get it naturally, natively in your feeds. I don't even push for notifications. Just basically when you check your feed out, you'll see what's there. We're there every single day with something. See what's good for you from us. See what we're pushing from our other more better media things. We'll talk about those here or there. And hopefully enjoy or be enraged by the news and commentary we have. When you like stuff I'm doing, I know I'm doing good news, good commentary, good stories. I know I have the right mix and better on the the ahs, the flubs, the hiccups, the burps, those things like that. So going along in this segment today, so apologies for that one, but we need you to like, share, and subscribe because I want to keep this thing going. Fear is that in our current landscape where things are getting closer to not being able to be, turned around, or it's not the fairness that, one side gets a little extra hits when one of the sides in charge. Things are looking ugly. Things are looking a little bleak. I want to have a chance to give myself a voice, grow something that may be generational voice to my daughter, so that when JJ is ready to take over something and wants to have us smart mouth, she can do these things and give you a voice as well. Make this actual conversational, not just a one-sided back and forth or essentially playing up to a base. I want all of us to chit chat on these things, and that's why I present them this way. So thank you so much for what you've given to us. We thank you in advance for what you may give to us in the future. We need you to just, number one, be here. The future is now, The future can't really skim anything off the top. Those traffic stops where the cops pulling you over so you can get that little extra money for they have a ticket quota, not going to work on the Waymos. A California police officer actually stopped a self-driving Waymo for a legal U-turn, which is good, but it couldn't actually issue a ticket to the car or the driver or Waymo. San Bruno police pulled over a driverless Waymo when it executed an illegal U-turn, then hit a legal wait. No human to sight. Legal wall. Can't read that. The wall was hit by the actual police officer. You can't give a ticket to a robot. Officers documented the infraction, but said the citation books don't contemplate robot drivers. Hadn't put that in the books yet. Waymo pledged to cooperate and review the maps and routing to prevent any repeats of this action. Whatever the robot thought it did, figured it could get away with it because it did. But the accident and this incident highlights the regulatory gray lines that autonomous vehicles will have when they actually go beyond pilot programs. When they are the real thing, how do the police lists, watch the watch lists or the watchers, and keep up with robots that should be safer because they're not dealing with humans, but also may decide to rise as machines do and not be as safe because they can get away with things that humans would screw up. The lawmakers of California will likely face a renewed pressure to clarify the liability and enforcement of the rules for the robots and for Waymo going forward. This is a rule change. This is actually a good thing. This is finding out something in the pilot stages that gives people a way to figure out, hey, we may need to think about this thing. So hopefully this little bitty story won't be forgotten about in 10 seconds and turns into something that means something for those who have to deal with this stuff. Tyreek Hill's agent spoke about the surgery he had to repair his dislocated left knee and multiple torn ligaments, and he said it went very, very well. No second procedure will be expected. The rehab will begin immediately, and the goal is to basically be back on the field week 1 of 2026. That means fairly close from now. If the Dolphins make it to the playoffs, he's playing, or at least week 1 of the season that's going to happen starting in 2026 in August. But if the Dolphins in the playoffs, maybe he can come back. Probably not, because I'm reading this totally bad. It's a 9 to 12 month range for most folks for this actual injury. So trying to come back in 4 months may be a bit of a stretch. But next season, he should be back and playing back for camp like normal. Miami will recalibrate the offense and cap planning for the season without the most expensive and explosive playmaker there. Tyreek Hill garners a lot of attention because he's really, really good. And not having him on the team for a while, especially a team like Miami that really needs him, it's going to be really, really bad for the team. And I'm sorry I butchered this story because I really wanted to use this as a recap for what's going on, but totally butchered. Bottom line, Tyreek Hill, after being carted off the field in his game this weekend, had surgery immediately. It went fine. Rehab is starting right now. Expect him back. It should be a 9 to 12 month delay since we're early in the season here. Expect him back next season, fairly early, playing on game 1. We hope that happens. Depth chart for the Dolphins goes extremely deep or extremely lost because there ain't nobody that can keep up with Tyreek Hill. That's the problem for the team and a problem for players who have him in fantasy and just fans of him himself. Yesterday, we had the story about the months of separation by Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, not Carl. Nicole Kidman officially filed for divorce. It was essentially going to happen in the works, and with the official filing words coming that 19 years of marriage is now in the works to be dissolved. Now, these things aren't instant. They could come back together. It could happen. But right now, paperwork is being put in to make things happen. Urban is on tour right now. Nicole Kidman is also taking care of kids, but doing some work here and there. So they have busy lives, busy schedules, and need to move on, apparently. But People magazine reports the couple have been living apart for months because of work schedules, and they just could not find a way to come together to fix whatever was ailing their actual separation needs. They're talking about the official separation date, custody requests, and petition. All the things are listed to make these things go legal going forward, to work as a separate entities, two separate people co-parenting as opposed to two people living together, parenting, whatever. Both representatives from both people have denied any public comment, no words to effect. Paperwork is legal, so we do know that. Coverage in entertainment trades note that the projects and touring is expected to continue for Urban and for Kidman. Their work schedules aren't going to change very much. They have to adjust, if you will. But as it is, they can take care of themselves. They have the money, they have the influence, they have people around them that can nanny and babysit and take care of what's going on. The kids will be okay. They may have to deal with the split up of the parents. That's not going to be great or easy, but they will be fine. They'll be taken care of because they're rich people, they're famous people. Those kids will be fine. Unfortunately, we are not that fine, or citizens in Tennessee aren't all that great about this new statue in Brownsville. 10-foot tall statue of Tina Turner unveiled for a crowd with mixed reviews and fans basically saying, I don't look like no Tina, which happens with these things. Social posts compare the sculpture to other infamous celebrity statues that basically did not quite make what the likeness go very well going forward. Local coverage highlighted the piece's placement near Turner's heritage sites and donor support, making this happen and giving Tina Turner the love she definitely deserves, except not in the form of a statue that is appealing. You see it right there. Yeah, you see it right there. Critics are targeting the hair, the expression. Others applaud finally honoring the Houghton icon, even with bad hair and the weird expression. The debate fits the pattern. Monument tributes that spark immediate aesthetic and cultural pushback. Basically, anybody famous that gets a statue in their hometown because it's not LA or New York or someplace large has to deal with the fact that it's not necessarily the top tier artist and it may not be right on point. And even if it's something that's rarely abstract, so abstract, it don't look like the person. You don't get it. This is Tina Turner. My screen is, you see it to the split screen there. My screen is here where I see my confidence monitor. This is Tina. This is what we have. We should have gave her more flowers while she was here, and she got plenty of flowers. She gave her more flowers while she was here because now this is what she's getting after her passing. God bless America. And God bless you. I am always flattered by the amount of effort that you guys, news nerds, put into keeping up with real quality news. And I thank you so much for that. So while we're going late today, we're going to speed this up pretty quickly because you've heard me talk about ground news before. If you're brand new, the short spiel, the too long, get to read version is ground news is our spotlight sponsor. Use the link. This is the conversationproject.com/ground news. Get 40% off their news plans and it will help you get better news. What they do by better news is they aggregate news from all the sources, all the places, basically all the sites, and give you an idea of who the news gatherer is, who backs them, what type of news they produce. Literally, a side-by-side comparison of what type of they put out there, so you can see them compared to other stories. If you pay for the Vantage plan and get it a great deal with our discount we give you through our link, you get their blind spot feature, which shows you stories that are being overly played by various factions out there in the world. A Republican venue may do a lot of stories that are making the red folks look good and the blue folks look bad, and vice versa for a liberal type deal. But the blind spot shows you what stories are being overly played or underplayed by a source and gives you a chance to see side-by-side comparisons of what's going on. Very simple, very quick. Use it on your phone, use it by the website, get it in newsletters to you every morning. Check it out at this is the conversationproject.com/ground news. This is the conversationproject.com/ground news. When you check them out and use our link, you get 40% off their Vantage plan and all their plans to get your news better, deeper, more detailed from ground news. Sorry for going long in this one. Like I said, we hit the milestone yesterday, and so I had some slides and graphics ready for something to do for this weekend of getting close to 2,500. We hit 2,500 just sort of out of the blue, so I had to update those things. I want to just say thank you so much for getting there. There's a lot of people doing a lot of videos. I have a video right here to my left, or my YouTube basically stays up, of a commentator that I watch who just hit 300,000 likes, and so she's doing some celebratory videos that asking some questions. We don't really have the time, not set for that. We'll do something to celebrate the hit as opposed to beg for a couple more viewers this weekend. But as of right now, thanks. Our website home, this is conversationproject.com. Our email address, conversationinbox@gmail.com. You can send us congrats and all you want to there as well. The feeds are on Facebook and on X, so you can follow along and help us vote up stories to see which stories are worthy of talking about. Conversation inbox at gmail.com is our email address. I just said that twice for some reason. Trust me, almost overslept today. Oh, the rapture has been postponed to the 6th, which with the government shutdown is kind of a problem, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if we talk rapture again in a couple of days or whether that will disappear as well. In the meantime, today is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, the first day of the rest of our lives because U.S. government shut down in effect as of 7 hours ago. We'll see what that means for the next couple of days, how long it'll take for the adults in Congress to be adults and get something done, and how long it'll take for the baby who's the president to actually take credit for whatever's happening, whether he did anything or not. I love you guys regardless, whether you like my takes or don't like my takes. I thank you so much for being a part of what we do here. You are amazing. You are great. I can't do this without you. That's the truth. We'll try our best to do things again tomorrow when there'll be some personal drops into the weekend thing when we talk about hitting that 2,500 because it's been kind of a struggle to get there, struggle to keep going sometimes in the creator economy where I'm going really long at this point. It's getting really weird out there for folks who are yakking on the internet. And so the folks that are small like me have a lot of issues getting it done. I thank you for helping me get it done and continuing to make the work. Love you. Mean it. We out.